Have you ever wondered what would happen if Donald Trump suddenly stopped helping the Philippines in its stand against China? Picture this. A world where the United States, under the leadership of Donald Trump, suddenly changes its stance and withdraws its support from the Philippines. This isn't just about politics or global power dynamics. It's about human lives, economies, and the delicate balance of international relations. It's about the ripple effects of such a monumental decision, not just for the countries directly involved, but for the entire global community. What would happen to the Philippines, a nation that has long relied on the US for support in its disputes with China? How would China react to this shift in the balance of power? And what about the United States itself? What could be the potential repercussions of such a dramatic policy change? So, what would be the cost of such a decision? Let's dive deeper into this intriguing scenario. What has been the history of US-Philippines relations, particularly under the Trump administration? To fully comprehend the potential implications of a sudden change in the US-Philippines relationship, we must first delve into the history books. The bond between the United States and the Philippines dates back to the turn of the 20th century, when the United States acquired the archipelagic nation following the Spanish-American War. Since then, the relationship has evolved, marked by periods of both tension and cooperation. During the Trump administration, this relationship experienced a unique dynamic. Despite the occasional rhetoric of dissent from the Philippines' firebrand President Rodrigo Duterte, the two nations maintained a consistent pattern of collaboration, particularly in two key areas: defense and trade. Let's turn our attention to defense first. The United States and the Philippines have a long-standing mutual defense treaty, a cornerstone of security in the Asia-Pacific region. This agreement, in effect since the early 50s, commits both nations to support each other in the event of an armed attack. Under Trump's watch, this defense cooperation remained robust, with the United States providing significant military aid to the Philippines to help combat internal security threats like terrorism. Now let's talk about trade. The United States is one of the Philippines' top trading partners, with bilateral trade in goods and services reaching nearly $25 billion in 2018. Under Trump, this relationship continued to flourish, contributing to the economic growth and development of both nations. However, it's important to note that this relationship is not just about defense and trade. It's about shared democratic values, people-to-people ties, and a mutual commitment to regional stability. This historical backdrop sets the stage for our exploration of the hypothetical scenario. What would happen if this relationship, built over a century of shared history, abruptly shifted? What would be the cost for both nations? Stay tuned as we delve into the potential fallout and long-term implications of such a scenario. What might be the immediate consequences if Trump stopped aiding the Philippines? Let's dive into that. First and foremost, defense would take a significant hit. The Philippines, with its limited military capabilities, relies heavily on the United States for its defense. Without this support, the country might find itself in a vulnerable position, particularly in its territorial disputes with China in the South China Sea. Now let's talk economics. The United States is one of the Philippines' largest trade partners, and the cessation of aid could potentially destabilize this relationship. This could lead to a decrease in foreign investments, job opportunities, and overall economic growth for the Philippines. On the geopolitical front, the withdrawal of aid could alter the balance of power in the region. As the Philippines loses its backing from the United States, other nations, including China, could potentially capitalize on this shift. This could lead to an increase in China's influence in the area, which may not necessarily align with the interests of other regional players. Speaking of China, how might they react? Well, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. On one hand, China might see this as an opportunity to strengthen its position in the South China Sea. On the other hand, the lack of US involvement could also escalate tensions and lead to potential conflicts in the region. Other international players would also be watching closely. The withdrawal of US aid to the Philippines could be seen as a weakening of US commitment to its allies, which could cause unease among other nations that depend on US support. So, in a nutshell, the immediate fallout of Trump withdrawing aid from the Philippines could be substantial. It could impact defense, the economy, and geopolitics, not just for the Philippines, but for the entire region. The initial fallout could be significant, but what about the long-term implications? How might this decision impact the future of US-Philippines relations and the geopolitical balance in the region? The long-term implications of such a move could indeed be profound. The first thing to consider is the potential shift in the balance of power within Southeast Asia. If the United States were to step back, it might create a vacuum which could be filled by other regional or global powers. China, with its increasing influence, could seize this opportunity to extend its reach further. Moreover, this could potentially change the dynamics of the US-Philippines relationship. The Philippines has been a strategic ally of the United States for decades, providing a crucial foothold in the region. A sudden withdrawal of support could strain this long-standing bond. It might push the Philippines to reassess its alliances and seek new partners who could guarantee more consistent backing. Furthermore, the absence of US support could lead to an escalation of territorial disputes in the region. The South China Sea is a hotbed of contention, with multiple nations staking claims over its waters and resources. Without the backing of a major global power like the United States, the Philippines might find it challenging to defend its interests. But let's also consider the broader impacts on global geopolitics. This decision could be perceived as a sign of the United States retreating from its global commitments. It could lead to a reassessment of the US's reliability as an ally, not only by countries in Southeast Asia but by nations worldwide. In the realm of international relations, actions speak louder than words. A move such as this could shape perceptions about the United States' role in global affairs for years to come. It could redefine alliances, redraw geopolitical maps, and even alter the course of history. The ripple effects of such a decision could be far-reaching, but what about the costs for the US? It's not just about the immediate fallout. The long-term implications could be just as significant, if not more. But that's a topic for our next scene. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into this fascinating geopolitical conundrum. What might be the cost for the United States if it stopped aiding the Philippines? This question, though seemingly straightforward, has layers of complexity folded into it. Let's attempt to peel those layers back, shall we? Firstly, let's consider the strategic interests of the United States. The Philippines holds a key position in the geopolitics of the Asia-Pacific region. It's a strategic foothold for the US, providing a gateway to the South China Sea. This sea lane is a critical commercial route with about 1/3 of the world's maritime trade passing through it. So, if the US were to pull back its support, it could potentially compromise its strategic positioning, not to mention the influence it holds in this part of the world. Next, we must weigh the reputation of the US as a reliable ally. The US has long been seen as a pillar of support for many nations. If it were to withdraw its aid to the Philippines, other nations might question the reliability of the US as an ally. Could this lead to a loss of trust, perhaps? Could it result in a shift of alliances? That's a possibility too. Lastly, let's not forget the economic repercussions. The US and the Philippines share a robust trade relationship. In fact, the Philippines is one of the largest markets for US goods. A withdrawal of aid could strain this relationship, possibly leading to a downturn in trade. And this is not just about the loss of a trading partner, but also about the potential domino effect on the US economy. So when we talk about the costs for the United States, we're talking about potential strategic losses, a possible dent in its reputation, and potential economic fallout. The costs for the US could be significant, but as we've seen, the potential impacts of such a decision are complex and wide-ranging. So what if Donald Trump stopped helping the Philippines against China? Today we've explored this intriguing question. We've delved into the historical context, unveiling the ties that bind these nations together. We've pondered the potential fallout, the ripple effects that could reverberate across the globe. We've contemplated the long-term implications for both countries and the geopolitical shifts that could unfold. And we've weighed up the costs for the US, the delicate balance of power and influence at stake. In this complex web of international relations, every decision, every action, and indeed every inaction carries weight. The consequences could be far-reaching, altering the course of history. But remember, this is just one of countless scenarios that could play out on the global stage. The world of geopolitics is full of what-ifs. Keep wondering, keep questioning, subscribe for more amazing content. Don't miss out on future explorations and discoveries. Hit subscribe and ring the bell to stay updated with our new content. Your journey of wonder continues with every video. Stay connected and engaged on social media. Continue the conversation, follow us. Thank you for being a part of the Have You Ever Wondered community. Keep wondering, keep discovering. Until next time.